Welcome to Poets from the Neighborhood. I am VeerajaR.
And I'm Jeff Hardin. We hope you'll enjoy the poems we'll be reading today, poems written by your friends and neighbors. The first poem is concerning explanations, written by Jeff Hardin to Bobby Rogers. The rain this Sabbath is relenting and scouring. I'm tempted to say cleansing, expecting you'll forgive the nod toward spiritual implication. As much as anyone, you understand how drenched we are in childhood sermons, in King James narratives and doleful, earnest prayers that just as often verge toward the ridiculous. I'm not immune to hyperbolic, sentimental bouts of bombast, but I'll try my best to make a space for holiness and bow these thoughts toward a remembrance of how often I've come up empty in my explanations of the least regarded thing. Take the human eye, for example. We see through death, literally. Cells programmed to die move outward and form a thin protective layer over the cornea. Without them, we'd be blind. I take from this our cells confirm the words of Paul, that we should die to self. I tell my students that when we're selfish, we go against these cells, risking blindness. Are such words hyperbolic enough? Maybe they are prayers disguised as poems, or maybe they are sermons, or maybe they are a remembrance of the men I've known who lived a servant-mindedness. One man placed his pocket change in coin returns. Another entertained the elderly in convalescent homes. Another wouldn't use his grill until a nest of wren eggs hatched and flew away. And these examples, I'll admit, sound hopelessly old-fashioned. But if I'm truthful, they have formed as much as anything the structure of my mind. I admire the simple risks they take. I hear in your voice, too, appreciation of the flawed attempts we make to wrestle from our lives a simple understanding, which more and more begins to sound far-fetched, as unlikely as two grown men praying words across a page, believing they can be like cells at the edge of what we know, by which and through which we come to see holiness within this broken world.
In honor of our longtime friend and one of our pillar poets of our program, Louise Colln, I'll be reading her poems today. Trees, a haiku. Trees wait in stillness for undulating wind to lead their dances.
Partial View by Jeff Hardin. We wake to a world in which every choice is the wrong one. There should have been corn, not squash, in the garden, an oak, not a willow, in the side yard. Long ago, parents chose the wrong town in which to live and raise children, and every conversation since has been a limitation. Of an artist's most important piece, critics, most of them, agree, though easily, confidently, they might have chosen another. Robert Carter III, not Washington, where might a nation be? What voice at its core? John Woolman, not Benjamin Franklin. A different psalm than the 23rd. The novels we have, as rich as they are, weighed against the ones we've overlooked, the ones no one wrote. An incompleteness, a partial view, a meadow that might have been a Louvre, except a contractor built a row of houses. The call of one voice, the answer of another, neither the grace that might have been spoken.
Early Morning, Still Dark by Louise Colln. Stars crowding the sky, dropping silver, a soft, cool wind drifting across high tree arms, cajoling them into gracious dips and waves, leading a country choir in a song to glory, stirring a joy in my bone, in my breaths, in my heart strokes that my mind cannot name.
The next poem is titled A Poem as a Way of Building a Kingdom by Jeff Hardin. What can I tell but that I began in a ditch line, tracing it toward elsewheres that didn't appear, though all along I have tried to build a kingdom. Who thinks of fate or sublimity, or even of history and what it has ravaged, when a leaf caught in an eddy finds, then follows the larger stream? Not every winged thing will become an albatross. It's okay to let the distance remain where it is. We know box notes because they too failed. Choices made, if studied closely, reveal how partial any moment is, both in what preceded it and what, as though we could know, it eventually becomes. What, if any, wise men are there left to follow? Every day Rome burns again. Someone stumbles out of Dante to find we are midway, still no farther.
An Apple by Louise Colln. I picked an apple from a tree, a bright red apple, round and sweet. I placed it on my counter and planned its use. Perhaps I'll slice it thinly and share it with my neighbor on my east. We will sit together on my porch and talk of ball games and gardens. Perhaps I will cut it into chunks and wrap it in pastry from the store and make 2 tiny apple pies with cinnamon and brown sugar and share them with my neighbor on my west. We will sit at the round table in a corner of my kitchen and eat and drink 2 cups of Earl Grey tea and talk of gentle gossip, love and babies and flowers. Perhaps I'll core and peel it and bake it with brown sugar and take it to my neighbor who is wheelchair bound. I'll sit with her and watch her eat and listen to her memories of sorrow and a long love. I thought so long of little ways to make my small world better. This morning, I saw a rotten apple sitting on my counter. Thank you for watching Poets from the Neighborhood. We hope you'll join us again soon.